Hey, it's Maryanne with the Influential Nonprofit, and I have a big idea, and I'm excited to share it with you. This big idea is an idea that I've been working on for a very long time, but it really came together for me in the last couple weeks, and I am ready to launch it into the world. There's two things I want from you. If you can, please. First is, I am looking for stages to share this message. And if you know of any, I would love to hear from you. I have a speaker manager. She will handle the whole thing. Just let me know what you got. I'll follow her up. If you're looking for conference speaker, AFP chapter presenter, anything like that. Because this one's good. It is good, my friend. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so juicy. And the second is I would love your feedback. Tell me what you think. How does this resonate with you? How does it feel? How do you think this could work in your organization? My email, Maryanne@maryandersch.com, will be in the show notes. Please feel free to reach out. Okay, so this is my big idea. All right. A lot of times we think that there is a magic bullet or a secret formula, a magic formula, I'll say, that with the right combination of words and messages can convert anybody to be a donor. And once you find this magic formula, then you'll never have to worry about marketing and fundraising again. Right. And we know there's no magic formula, yet we so wish there was, right? Like we just, please let there be this one thing that I know is foolproof, and I'll never have to worry about climbing that mountain every year, right? Like climbing that mountain again. And we often act like maybe there is one, maybe like if one more email, the right message, that will convert people, that will convince people to care. What if there's one more annual appeal, one more email, we'll have this kind of event, we'll do a gala, one more cup of coffee, one more lunch meeting, and then that'll convert them. And there really isn't a magic formula, and I wish there was, because if I had it, you'd have it, and we wouldn't need to be here, would we? And there really isn't. And also what we've been taught, and as marketers, as communicators of our mission, is we tout the good things that our nonprofit does and the good outcomes that we get. And then people will decide to give to us, right? They're like, okay, that you sound like you're doing good work, I'll give to you. That's the model that we were taught. And as somebody who's been doing this work for a really very long time, more, since 1992, if there was a way to just say or do the right thing to convince people to care, again, we wouldn't need to be here. I say this a lot, and I'm going to say it again, which is it's not your job to convince people, to make people care about your nonprofit, mostly because you can't. All right. You cannot make people care, because if you could, you would, and you can't. And it's kind of disheartening. Like, why do some people care and why don't people care? And fundraising and marketing can be very laborious, difficult, lonely, rejection-filled experiences, because we see everyone as a potential donor, because we really have no way of understanding why one person would care over the other. So we assume if I just say or do the right thing, I could get somebody to care. And that sets you up for a lot of rejection, a lot of like misplaced energy, a lot of holding on to lists of people who don't respond, and they're never going to respond, but you're like, maybe this year they'll respond. It keeps us stuck, and it keeps fundraising hard. In the traditional model, we're taught, okay, hey, let's talk about how awesome our nonprofit is. And what that does is it centers us, which there's a point to that. That's okay. But the other part of it is that we disavow or minimize the donor and the donor experience in that equation. Because when I assume that I can convince you, what I'm saying is like, your experiences don't really matter as much as what I say or do. And we wind up kind of looking at donors not for who they are, but what they could possibly do for us. And no one wants to be seen as like, a human ATM. Like, what can I do for you? We want to be seen for who we are. It is the most fundamental need of anyone, is to be seen, heard, and valued. And your only job is to help people feel valued, okay, I get that, Maryanne. I know you're understanding this by now, but how do I help people feel valued? And how do I understand who would care about my nonprofit and who wouldn't? Because once you understand who would care and who wouldn't, then you can focus on the people who are going to care and you can let the other ones go. There's really no, up until now, up until I'm going to share this model with you, a way to understand why one person, why messaging lands on one person and it doesn't land on another person. Why somebody comes to an event and you never see them again, and somebody comes to an event and they like fall in love and they are a long-term loyal supporter. And this is my model that I have developed, and it's called the philanthropic heart. Before I explain what it is, I want you to feel how it feels inside you, because every single one of you and me and all of us, we all have our own philanthropic heart. And so I want you to, if you can play with me here, if you're driving, don't. If you're not, get quiet, like get settled if you can right now. Get quiet and get settled. I'm just going to ask you to do this for about a minute at the most. You have a minute, so let's do this. Sit down, put your feet on the floor, like put your hips in the chair, feel really solid in your seat. All right, I want you to feel really solid in your seat, your hips in the chair. And then I want you to put your left hand over your heart and then your right hand over your left, and either close your eyes or lower your gaze. And I want you to just take a deep breath in. And I want you to breathe in light, like just breathe in some light. Like there's all these little lights, little beams of light all around you, and you're breathing them into your body. When you exhale, you're sending all that light out into the world. And those little stars, those little balls of light all around you those are your donors. Those are the people who love and support you. And I want you to breathe them in and then exhale and send your love out to them. Send your energy out to them. Breathe in theirs. Exhale, breathe out yours. I want you to feel that heart. Like I want you to feel your heart just lighting up. Feel the light in your heart. You could feel the warmth in your hand. Maybe your hand's tingling a little bit. Tap into that feeling. And once you feel settled and you feel that warmth, I want you to think about these questions. What is the legacy I want to leave? What is the change that I seek in this world? How will the world be different because I am in it? Think about those questions. And what are those answers? And there you go. Now you're tapped into your philanthropic heart. You can open your eyes, put your hands anywhere you want. This is your philanthropic heart. It has to do with the legacy you want to leave, the difference you want to make in the world, the change you seek. The philanthropic heart is the reason why somebody cares about your nonprofit and somebody doesn't. It's born in two things. One is the gains, right? The gains, the vision we have, the gains we want to seek. And it's rooted in our childhood. It's rooted in and created and connected with us within our childhood experiences. The way anything we have is the way most of our fundamental and organizing beliefs, they're formed in our childhood, 0 to 7. Most of what we believe and how we act and how we see ourselves is formed by the time we're 7 years old. If you didn't know that, you do now. This is what I work on a lot of people on, is reprogramming those stories, those beliefs that have been carried with them, that they realize, wait, that's not a true story. That's just something that got programmed into me a long time ago. All right. So these are organizing beliefs that are so much a part of us as how we see money, how we see relationships, work, family, all of those things. These are our fundamental organizing principles, and they make up and they are expressed through our philanthropic heart. And when I talk about childhood, that doesn't mean that can mean good experiences, bad experiences, because all of those things form our worldview. All right, I'm going to share with you my philanthropic heart and my childhood, my origin story, my childhood, so you can understand how this principle works. I would love to hear yours. I would love to hear you. I would love to hear your origin story, how it relates to your philanthropic heart. I also, before I get into this, would love more stages to present this on. I have a speaker manager. I would love for you to connect with me if you think, oh my God, I would love for her to present this to our AFP chapter, a conference, whatever. I have a speaker manager. I'll hook you up with her. All right, so let's get into this, okay? Here's my story. I was what you would call a surprise baby. My mom had 4 kids in 6 years, and then 6 years later and some change, I was born. My mother was on the cusp of 40, which was very old to have a baby in 1966, and I was a surprise. And I grew up very different than my brothers and sisters. But when I was little, my dad used to call me Michelob. That was my nickname. And he'd say, my little Michelob, and he'd rub my hair. My dad worked for Anheuser-Busch. We lived in St. Louis. My dad worked for Anheuser-Busch, and he was a brand manager. And the tagline for Michelob was the unexpected pleasure. And he would call me my little Michelob. And when I got to be like 5 or 6, I kind of figured out the joke. And I was like, wait, I was unexpected. Like, wait, I wasn't wanted. And then I started to look at my family. Oh, right. Okay. So and also kids don't have a filter for this stuff, right? So when he would say to me, the unexpected pleasure, like, am I not loved because I wasn't wanted? Does my life have value or meaning because I wasn't wanted? And I subscribed that to my being, like maybe as a mistake, I felt fundamentally flawed because I felt like a mistake. And I questioned my value as, and as a kid, and consequently through my teen and a lot of my adult years. Now, that was sort of my organizing story of my life. And the gift of this, though, and there is a gift to it, is it made me incredibly empathetic, and it made me easily relate to people who weren't like me. It allowed me to connect with people easily because I was never around people who were like me. And I really wanted people to feel valued. And that was my goal because I didn't always feel valued or that I had value. Consequently, my philanthropic heart is expressed through organizations where I feel like who they're serving, the folks or the animals they're serving, the people they're serving don't have value. Who they serve doesn't have value. I'm a rescuer by nature. This was born of my childhood experience. I have 3 kids adopted out of foster care. I have fostered more than 250 dogs over the last 25 years for an organization called Stray Rescue of St. Louis. This is where my philanthropic heart goes to organizations for people who feel left out and left behind, because that's how I felt a lot of my childhood. And my family adored me, but kids internalize these things. And it was really interesting because when I wrote my book, I talk about this experience in my book and how I grew up and how I developed the sense of empathy. And my brother read my book and he said, I never even occurred to me that you would feel that way. I just thought that was so funny. I said, it's like the most quintessential organizing story of my life. And my brother was like, I probably don't know his origin story either, but I just thought that was funny. Anyway, so that is my philanthropic heart, and that's where my charities go. And it's not that I don't care about our unhoused brothers and sisters. That's why I don't care. Like, it's not that I don't care about people who are dealing with cancer or care about the environment. It's just not my philanthropic heart. And I look for organizations that help me create the legacy that I want to leave, the difference that I want to make in the world, which is to help people who don't feel valued to find value. And that's more about me seeking out ways to fulfill my philanthropic heart rather than having people come to me and telling me what should be in my philanthropic heart. And part of our marketing is really not to convince people to care, but be present and available and findable when somebody is like, I want to fulfill my mission. I want to express my philanthropic heart. What organizations would match my desires? and they're looking for that. So our job is to not make people care. Our job is just connect philanthropic hearts. And from my experience, a philanthropic heart is something that you can't change. You can only connect to, because it's as hardwired into me as is my birth order. And what we're trying to do in our marketing is say, okay, I want to reorder your whole value and belief system so you'll care about my nonprofit. That feels like, that feels heavy. That feels like that's not very expedient, you know? How about instead we look to see people for who they are, not who we want them to be, and attach ourselves to those people who share our philanthropic heart, and then let the other ones go. And again, our philanthropic heart is about the legacy we want to leave, the change we seek, the difference that how will the world be different for me being in it? How will the world be different for you being in it? How will the world be different for any donor you have being in it? What is the legacy they want to leave? And this helps us then understand that A, not everybody is for us, and B, why people who are for us, and C, that we can let go of the ones that aren't our people and we're never going to be our people. I call those fantasy relationships. They're rooted in scarcity, and it's because we just don't understand who might care and why that we hold on to those people. But what happens is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I really want you to hang with me here. What happens is an incredibly powerful thing, because I witnessed it over and over again. People are seen for who they are and not who we want them to be. And when they feel valued for who they are, right? Even if that's not a fit for your organization, but they feel valued and they feel seen, they will remember you, and they will remember you fondly. And that can only serve you in the long run. And we create communities of support of like-minded people who share philanthropic hearts. Because as Amy Fazio, one of the most amazing nonprofit leaders, says, people come for the cause, but they stay for the community. And so we're creating communities of people who share philanthropic hearts, because people want to be attached to something bigger or greater than themselves, right? I'm going to go into some detail right now. And so if you need to grab a pen and paper, I would love for you to do this. I'm going to work with you on something. Hold on. I'm going to pause this. Ooh, I got to pause for a second. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. If you're listening to this, take copious notes. You can always watch the video on my YouTube as well. If you go to courageouscommunication.com/podcast, the link to this podcast and my YouTube video are both there, so you won't miss a minute. But here's what I want to share with you, okay? Now, Tony Robbins has a concept, the 6 human needs, okay? And there's 6 human needs, and oh goodness, now hold on. Here we go. I had all this working and then it stopped. Okay. We have 6 human needs. And the first human need is certainty. All right. Now hold with me for this, because I'm going to explain to you exactly how this connects to the philanthropic heart. And now certainty means we want a home, or we want food every day, right? Certainty. A lot of the people we serve are meeting the need of certainty. Then there's the need of variety, right? We want food, but we want to eat something different every day. We want to be able to, we want something different, right? And then we have a need for significance. And I can't spell this word. Okay. Okay. Significance. This is about our ego. We get significance from having, and it's cool to have an ego. We all have an ego. That's all right. Feel like the ego gets a bashing, but like, hey, significance means like I get significance from my hair or my shoes. I tend to go to the same places over and over again, like restaurants and bars, so people know me, because I get significance from people knowing me when I'm there. That's me. That's how I get significance. So if we look at our typical donor model, how we're appealing to donors is about certainty, variety, and significance. We want them to know we're here. We want them to have variety, though, right? Hey, we're going to have that event every year. but that event's going to be different because you don't want to do the same thing. And we'll put your name on something, right? Hey, help us provide certainty or variety for these people, and we'll give you a little bit of ego. Which put your name in the report. We'll recognize you at the event. That's the ego. And this is typically how we relate to donors and these 3 bottom needs. But I told you we have 6 needs. I didn't do this very evenly. Okay, we have 6 basic human needs. The next one is connection. Okay, and connection means we want to feel connected to people. We want to feel love and connection. Okay, this is now we have a break here. Okay, for me, these are lower order, like life sustaining needs. These are higher order needs. So the lower order needs is I need certainty in my life. I need to know that my home is going to be there at the end of the day, that my family is going to be there at the end of the day. And I want variety. I want new experiences in my life. I want, different things to do. I don't want to watch the same TV show over and over again. And I want ego. I want to know that like I matter, that what I do matters to people. And nothing bad about these. This is just where we're at. Now, the higher order needs are connection, growth, and contribution. And this one is growth, and this one is contribution. So growth is about personal growth and development, spiritual growth, whatever kind of growth that we have. So we want connection, love and connection, growth, and then contribution. Contribution is giving back. The higher order need is giving back, but not from a giving back of like, I want my name on the building. That's totally okay if you give because you want your name on the building. That's great. But contribution is I'm giving because I want to give back to the world. It's about that legacy. Right now, when we tend to, in traditional fundraising, really focus on these lower orders, these are what I call pains. We're relieving a pain. We're relieving a pain. We're relieving a pain of instability, of sameness, relieving a pain of lack of significance. Those are pains we can relieve. These here are gains. These are gains. These upper 3, connection, growth, contribution, those are gains. Okay. Now, the philanthropic heart touches all of these, because if you have a relationship where you meet all 6 needs are met, that is a powerful relationship. And in the philanthropic heart model, we are meeting those lower order needs that we've always been meeting, but we're adding on a vision. We are aligning people here in contribution, that their money is going, their assets, their gifts, their money is going to the change they seek in the world. We're asking them to step into a greater version of themselves that aligns their assets to the change they want in the world. And that is the highest order you can give to people. So because if you can look at your relationship with your donors and say, am I addressing all 6 needs? Am I giving them opportunities for contribution, opportunities for growth, opportunities for connection, opportunities for significance, variety, and certainty? That is an incredibly powerful convo. Philanthropic heart does this, okay? Because it's rooted in our childhood pains and our childhood organizing principles, and it's expressed through our highest values and our highest vision for good. And we're connecting people through their vision that they want to create, not relieving a pain. So the older model, like of those lower order needs, feels a little transactional. Hey, if you give us money, we're going to feed these people. Important, not saying it's not important. It's important. You give us money, we'll feed these people, and you can get a tax credit, or you can get recognized, or you can come to a thank you thing. That feels a little transactional. This up here, this is about transformation, connection, growth, contribution. That's about transformation. So when you're moving out of the transactional into the transformational, that's what makes the philanthropic heart model so powerful, because we're actually addressing all 6 needs. All 6 needs. You guys, I love this so much. I could do this all day. I could. Now, I went through that pretty quick. Feel free to re-listen. Feel free to rewatch. And so the philanthropic heart deals with pains and gains combined. That's what makes it so powerful. And because we're rooted in our certainty, we're like, right, relieving pain, which is what we've always been doing, but we're adding this piece to it that's really centered on what your vision is for the future. So let's go back to, what is your job now? Your job is simply to understand and connect with people's philanthropic heart. Your board, if they're so afraid of fundraising, you don't have to fundraise. All we have to do is see what's in their philanthropic heart. Now, I have systems, I have ways that you can have this conversation so you can understand what are people's visions for the future, what is in their heart, and then understanding like how you can tap into that, either connect with it or not. And if you feel the connection, tap into it and understand it. And like, say someone has, 3 main charities that they love, and you say, okay, that's what's in your philanthropic heart. How can we be, and then you're thinking like, okay, how can I occupy a bigger space in their heart? But only because we're connecting, not because I'm convincing or pitching. It's very different than trying to convince people to care. And that's what's exhausting you. And that's what's making marketing and fundraising hard, is because you're trying to make people care. I 100% guarantee it. So let's release the need to make people care and start connecting with their philanthropic heart. And really what that is exactly what I did to you. You don't have to do a meditation with them if you don't want to, but asking them, what is the vision what is the legacy you want to leave? What's the difference you want to make in the world? If those things align, continue the conversation. If not, that's okay, because you'll have seen them for who they are, not who you want them to be. Our deepest source of pain comes from the gap between who people are and who we want them to be. Never so much more in my life than my children, right? Oh, the pain of like, I want you to be this person, but you're this person. We can release that and see people for who they are. Our life becomes so much easier because we're not expecting people to change based on our needs and demands. We're allowing people to be who they are, and we're just connecting with the right fit. So much easier than trying to change minds. 100% so much easier. Okay. The last thing I want to say is that, again, as I mentioned, people come for the cause, they stay for the community. Your job is to create communities of support so that you, your staff, everyone feels supported, and that you are not in it alone, because you're not, although I know it feels like that sometimes, but that you can access the supportive community anytime. And they're in it because they're getting all these needs met, right? You're giving them opportunities for contribution, opportunities for growth, opportunities for connection, opportunities for significance, if that's their jam, opportunities for variety and certainty. When you combine all of those, that makes you an incredibly powerful thing. When you relieve the pain, and then create a gain at the same time. They are with you. They are with you. And if this model, like if it feels overwhelming, let me know. But honestly, I really feel like it's not. It's actually the opposite. Now you can think of like, oh God, we just didn't share the same philanthropic heart. That's why that didn't work out. Right. I'm going to go more into exactly how you understand or can connect to somebody's philanthropic heart. Remember, each person has their own individual one. And your job is to just be strong in your mission and message so that you can call forward those like-minded philanthropic hearts, not necessarily change anybody or convince anyone. And when you meet people who've never heard of your nonprofit, you don't have to stress about it. Like, I think sometimes people are like, how come I never heard of you? It wasn't the right time for us to meet. You heard of me right now. You heard of me now. And let's see if there's a connection. Let's see if there's a way for us to connect. And if not, that's totally okay. Bless and release, detach with love, let them go. And they will have been seen for who they truly are, not who they want them to be, because people feel like a disappointment. Like, oh, I'm not that person. I'm so sorry. You're like, that is totally fine. I witness who you are and what the change you seek in the world. And I'm excited for your vision just as much as I'm excited for mine. But what I'm looking for, who people share my vision, my heart in the world. So that, my friends, is the philanthropic heart model. I am working on a whole program. I'm working on a lot of things, but for right now, I am looking for 2 things. One, I would love to share this with more people on some stages. Please let me know if you know of any. Two, I want to hear what you have to say. Like, if you can look at where your money goes, can you tie those to your childhood experiences? How easy was it for you to understand what's in your philanthropic heart? Let me know. I'm rolling with this thing. I think this is my overhead myth. Okay. Like, I'm like, this is my Dan Pilato overhead myth. Like, this is my big idea. Um, I think it's got legs. I think there's so much we could digest and unpack. And so I'm looking to just keep working on deepening and deepening and deepening this concept, and creating trainings around it and things like that. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time on the Influential Nonprofit.